I'd like to thank the co-chairs of this award process, Anita DeMarco Gore and Marcy Heller Fisher, for all their efforts and all the people that helped do the jurying. I'd also like to thank Annie Van Gelderen and the VBAC for hosting this for us tonight. Thank you all for being here and to support our talented awardees and to support the art in our community. I'd like to introduce Marcy Heller Fisher. Have a great evening, everyone.
Hi, as Lori said, I'm Marcy Heller Fisher, co-chair of the Cultural Arts Awards and a board member of the Cultural Council of Birmingham Bloomfield. When my now middle-aged children were in the Birmingham schools, I co-chaired a committee called CCAC. Its onerous acronym meant something like Community Education Central Advisory Council or Committee, or I could never figure it out. It was a coalition of school representatives, neighborhood associations, local businesses, and nonprofits. At the helm of that organization, I witnessed the power and became a supporter of community assets working together. 20 years ago, I was honored with a Cultural Arts Award from this very organization for harnessing the power of community, bringing scouts, school and church groups, private clubs, adults and children together within the schools to meet the sculptor Marshall Fredericks, fill in photo albums after they'd been all over the city taking pictures and taking those photos to the drugstore to get developed. Remember that? It was an activity based on the research that I had been doing for a book on Marshall Fredericks. I'd never heard of the Cultural Council beforehand, but when I looked into it, I found the Cultural Arts Awards are the beneficiaries of an extraordinary coalition of cultural institutions in our community, each of which partners with the Cultural Council, the CCBB, Cultural Council of Birmingham Bloomfield, to provide the resources that make it possible for us to honor persons in our midst for the impact they have on our lives. The Cultural Council itself is made up of a small group of volunteers without its own offices, without its own building, or even its own meeting spaces. But tonight, none of you had to buy a table, make a donation, or purchase a ticket because of these partnerships. This evening, we are guests at the Birmingham Bloomfield Arts Center, affectionately known as the BBAC, as opposed to the CCBB. As our partner, the BBAC has provided the venue, food and drink, as well as support staff and volunteers for our awards ceremony for all of our 30 years. In this room, surrounded by textile art by current students and in its adjacent art galleries, it's easy to understand why, as a standard bearer for the arts in our community, that the BBAC is our partner. It is therefore my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Annie Van Gelderen, President and CEO of the Birmingham Bloomfield Arts Center.
As Marcy mentioned, I am the president and CEO of the Birmingham Bloomfield Arts Center. I'm also a proud member of the Cultural Council and feel lucky every single day that when I walk into work, I'm surrounded by art and artists. It's only fitting that we celebrate this evening in a building that has been home for all us creative types to nurture our souls, pursue our dreams, and make our mark since 1957. I'm pleased to welcome you all here tonight for the 30th Annual Cultural Arts Award. On this special occasion, we celebrate everything that the Cultural Council Award signifies. That the arts and culture sector is very important in our community. And so are the individuals like Bryan Fink, a stellar musician who not only performs but mentors and writes about the importance of music in our lives. And then we have our Lifetime Achievement Awardee, Robert Schefman, an incredible artist whose work is in collections throughout the country, as well as being a lifelong educator and inspiration to so many young visual artists. And I must say, I kick myself every day that I didn't purchase a painting 20 years ago. And finally, the partners with the Arts Award to the Birmingham Musicale, celebrating 100 years providing concerts and impacting young musicians. They have all given and continue to give so generously their time and passion for the arts. The Birmingham Bloomfield area is so rich in the promotion of the arts, and we are fortunate that our city leaders believe as we do the importance of creativity. So, a reminder that our collective efforts will always matter to ensure that art remains important in our lives and in the community and region that we inhabit. Thank you for celebrating tonight's awards with us.
As media has evolved at lightning speed over the past decade, and with the demise of the Birmingham eccentric, we needed a new media partner and found it with Downtown News Magazine, which publishes both online and in print and reaches across our community to thousands of readers. Their mission of reinvesting in the local communities and working to make sure the Birmingham Bloomfield area reaches its highest potential made a partnership with Downtown News Magazine a perfect match. They provide publicity, including publishing our nomination form digitally and in print, and announcing our honorees and introducing them to our community. I'm so pleased to welcome David Hohendorf, publisher of Downtown News Magazine.
So while we were debating whether this event was starting at 5 or 6 this evening, I was instructed that I had at max 2 minutes. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of background. We're fortunate to have this cultural council for the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and larger area. This area, as Annie just said, is so rich in the arts, not just in the visual arts and the performing arts, the preservation of history, you name it, that's what culture is in the community. As a little background, I like to describe myself as a child of the 1960s. Okay, so as an activist back in those days, and in the business that I run now, where I viewed art as something that should have a message, that should advocate for a certain position. But as I've aged, or I'll use the term matured, had a couple of sons who attended school at Cranbrook. So for 20 years, I paid the tuition at Cranbrook schools. And it's hard between Cranbrook and the community of Birmingham not to have your view of what truly is art and important about art not evolve. So my view nowadays is culture in a broader sense is really a relief, particularly in tumultuous times. And an organization such as the Cultural Council is taking on even more importance as the state cuts back on grants for the arts and as the federal budget, when they finally get one, is also cutting back on the arts. This is such an important organization, and all of these supporting organizations, such as the BBAC and all that, we need to make sure that we have strong community support, because I think in the coming years, they'll be challenged fiscally even more so than today. So I'm pleased to be partnering with the folks that are involved here. I think that was 1 minute and 12 seconds. Thanks.
I guess I'm going to steal his next few seconds. The Community House has also been our partner since the inception of our awards. It functions as a nonprofit community center and, as our partner, acts as our back office, designing, editing, and publishing all our forms, nomination packets, and programs, sending invitations, and even hosting our jury meeting in one of its beautiful meeting rooms. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Allison Gaudreau, the new president and CEO of the Community House, which incidentally received our Partners with the Award last year for 100 years of service in the community. We are beyond excited to be working with Allison and thank her and her staff for seamlessly continuing with all of our efforts when she was brand new on the job. In fact, she even met with us during her very first week at the Community House. Welcome, Allison Gaudreau.
All right, well, I'm the newbie in the room. So as Marcy said, I started with the Community House on May 5th, and I think Marcy and I met 3 days later. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I just want to congratulate the organization and all of the winners, both tonight and in the past. This is a fantastic organization, and David did such a fantastic job saying all of the same things that I wanted to say to you, that first of all, art is important to the community, to our country, to all of us, I think, personally. And as funding continues to be cut and things continue to be a challenge for arts organizations, the most important message that I can tell you tonight is that the Community House stands with you. We want to be partners with nonprofits in our community. We want to continue to support the arts, and we're here to stand with this organization and all of you from, I don't know, forever. Let me say it that way. So thank you for the opportunity. Congratulations, and really fantastic 30 years in an all-volunteer organization is really impressive. So thank you so much, and congratulations.
I want to quickly recognize our broadcast partner, Bloomfield Community Television, or BCTV, which is taping tonight's event for future broadcasts to be shared across all of the Birmingham Bloomfields, as well as on our website. Not only has BCTV always been our partner, but they even modified their program and interviewed people during COVID individually so that we could have a kind of a hybrid event. As we get to the awards, I have one more note of immense gratitude. We wouldn't have these awards without our 15 anonymous jurors who represent a cross-section of the arts and arts enthusiasts in the community, each of whom serves for 2 years. And those who won, guess what? You get to serve the next 2 years. It is our jurors who were responsible for studying this year's nominations and who then came together at the Community House in August, deliberating and agonizing over whom to select as this year's Exceptional Cultural Arts Award and Lifetime Achievement Honorees. You, jurors, know who you are, and we thank you for your time and careful consideration. So we are not going to refuse any donations, nor any volunteers who may wish to join the Cultural Council, but we owe this event to all of our partners for making tonight about our honorees, not about your pocketbooks, for making it possible for us to celebrate and honor those who impact on the cultural life in our community and have helped make the 5 Bs, Beverly Hills, Bingham Farms, Birmingham, Bloomfield Township, Bloomfield Hills, and Franklin, in fact, this whole region, a cultural mecca. And now I'd like to yield to my co-chair, Anita DeMarco Gore.
Hello, everyone. One of the things that I wanted to tell you about is that this award owes its inception to the ideas of Maggie Alizzi, the late Maggie Alizzi. And so we like to remember her and her great idea and her impetus to get it started. This is my 29th year serving 10 years with Judy Byrne and the last 20 with Marcy, and we have a good time because this is a happy occasion. It's my privilege to recognize a silent partner that we have, the City of Birmingham, and John Galick, who is the Superintendent of Building Facilities, who helps us with the updating and the maintenance of a perpetual plaque that hangs in the Birmingham City Hall on the second floor in the niche that's just opposite the entrance to the Birmingham Commission Room. I invite you all to stop in there, and the awardees, you can stop and see your name on the wall. John and his associate Dave spent a lot of time with our plaque guy up in Lake Orion designing the expansion and moving it to that niche. So we couldn't have done it without them. It occurred to me just the other day, talking to a friend who used to live here, that several of our awardees for the Partners with the Arts Award were centennial organizations. The Village Players and the Birmingham Musicale and the Community House. That is a remarkable record for a community of this size. So we applaud those people for hanging on for so long. The last thing before I introduce the first presentation is that we want to stress to you that the integrity and the importance of this award is entirely due to those of you in the community who create these nominations. So we urge you to consider if you know someone that you feel is worthy of a nomination, because we have to have enough people for the jury to really do a hard job so that this is an important award. Those times come around in June, and the deadline is around in July, so you have plenty of time to think about it. At this time, we'd like to begin with the Cultural Arts Award to Bryan Fink, and I'd like to call to the microphone Matthew Landrum, who's the Chair of Creative Arts and English at AIM High School. Matthew?
I'm Matthew Landrum, Director of Creative Arts at AIM High School. It's my distinct pleasure and privilege to introduce Bryan Fink today. I've known Bryan for a decade. I taught his oldest son, Matthew, in a rock band for 3 years, and he continued with our alumni rock band at AIM High School for years after that. For those of you who don't know, AIM High School is a school for people on the autism spectrum and neurodiverse kids over in Farmington Hills. And we have an excellent music program. Bryan has donated so much time and effort and money and equipment to that. And when I think of Bryan, I think of a cool, quiet competence. A few years back, my students were playing at the Congregation, a cafe and restaurant in Detroit. And as we were sound checking, our electronic drum pad screen went out and it wouldn't turn back on. I called Bryan. He was there in 45 minutes with a smile on his face, calm and cool. I said, "Thanks for coming out, bringing a drum pad." He said, "Oh, no problem." We were able to play a great show with the kids. Afterwards, I thanked Bryan and went to return the drum pads. He said, "Oh, you keep it." That's Bryan. Whether he is recording our students in his world-class studio, donating thousands of dollars through the year in money and equipment to the school, or helping with sound during concerts and events at school, he's been generous, reliable, unflappable, and he rocks, literally. Sure, Bryan has graduated Albion and Wayne State summa cum laude. He's an accomplished lawyer, an owner and managing partner of Mazur & Kittle. He's an amazing woodworker, an avid golfer, well-traveled skier. He even makes a mean cocktail. All that's great, but really, Bryan rocks. In music, we talk about the backbeat. People always think of the lead singer. They think of Bruce Springsteen or Mick Jagger, but the important part of a band is the people in the back setting up that person for success, and that's Bryan. He's not the front man, but you can catch him in the back of many bands, from his Stone Temple Pilots cover band, which I recently caught at the Magic Bag, or his REM cover band Rapid Eye Movement, his years and years, decades in the Steve Taylor 3, and he's even played backup for the Verve Pipe on occasion. That's Bryan. He is the person behind the scene, making the music happen. And he does this not just for his own bands, but for musicians and the music scene throughout the Metro Detroit area. He sits on the board of the Live Music Foundation, ensuring that young people have access to music and education, musical education. He's on the committee for the Detroit Music Awards Foundation, where he and the committee nurtures the music community throughout the city and the metro area. And he throws one hell of a party. I don't know who here has been to Frankstock, but since 1997, I see some of you have. Since 1997, the Franks have been holding a mini music festival in August at their home, complete with entertainment, local bands, and food trucks. He brings out the whole neighborhood. Hundreds of people are there every time at the end of their neighborhood. And when I think why Bryan deserves this award, I envision that party where he's running around getting the musicians ready, making sure the sound's prepped, greeting the hundreds of guests who show up. He brings people together, he makes space, he makes opportunity. I know that my career and my job with the band has been made so much better by the Franks and by Bryan, and as has the Detroit music scene. Please join me in giving a round of applause for Bryan.
This is the Cultural Arts Award, the original design of Link Wackler, who is here with us tonight. And we always like to recognize our friend Link because he served as a juror and enjoyed it so much that he decided he'd like to become involved. And when our original designer of the award moved away, he stepped right up. So this is a plaque that has representations of all the different arts on it. Bryan, this is your award, and with it accompanied a bracelet that has the images on it in miniature.
Thank you all very, very much. I am humbled and honored. I'd first like to thank Matthew Landrum, my wife Tracy Frink, Gary Graff, and Stacy Sherman helped make this possible. Music has always been very important to me. I credit it to my grandfather setting me on his lap on our player piano when I was about 5 years old. That same player piano now sits in my dining room, and my son Matthew plays on it all the time. Almost every friend I've met throughout my life has been through music. In a roundabout way, even though I met my wife in law school, it was really because she came to see my band. I think community is so important, and I think one of the things we lack in our current society is a lot of people don't know their neighbors, they don't know their friends as well as they should. And music is a way that all of that comes together. And there was a mention of the concert I have at my house every single year, which has been going on now for 18 years. You're all invited. It is always the Saturday before Labor Day weekend, which will be August 29th next year, 5 p.m. I live right behind Country Day in the Georgetown subdivision. Just show up. Music brings people together, and it's what we need more of in our society today. And every kid I meet that has an interest, I invite him to my studio. I tell him to form a band with his friends. The friends you'll make playing music together, you keep forever. I play in a band called the Steve Taylor 3. Steve would never have named the band that. We named it because he plays by himself and we didn't want him to be confusion, but I've known Steve since I was in middle school and we've played music that long together. Steve couldn't be here tonight because of course he has a gig. Carrie, the drummer in my band, is here tonight, and I've known Carrie for well over 30 years. Carrie was the best man in my wedding, and that's what music can do. And I'm so honored and privileged to be here, and I can't do anything but thank all of you. Thank you.
As we've discussed, These awards are chosen by an anonymous jury, and there have been years when they have had much too difficult a time and they couldn't settle on one person. And somewhere back along the line, if you read in your program in this list of prior awardees, you'll see that there are people who have been recognized with a Special Lifetime Achievement Award. That was a year that the jury was deadlocked. And so once again, this year, we have a deadlocked jury, and they wish to recognize with a Special Lifetime Achievement Award, Robert Schefman, the Distinguished Visual Artist. Robert, are you, I didn't see where you were. Oh, come forward. And your nominator is Mark Herrick and Michael Farrell, who are collectors of your work.
Actually, I don't hate to be known as a collector. 47 years ago, no, I lied. 43 years ago, I taught here at the BBAC. And Community House, and the Village Women's Club.
So you belong here.
I do kind of, but I also lectured at the DIA, University of Windsor for 49 years, and my nickname was the Detroit Prostitute of Art. And I carry that with pride. Now, none of that has anything to do with Mr. Schefman. I didn't know I was a collector. Are we really collectors? Yeah. I should introduce Mark Herrick, who we don't know what the politics are, but I think I can say right now, this is my husband. All right? Now, let me tell you something. Get them while they're young. He helps me across the street. It's the only way to go. But it was in the field of collecting that we met Schefman. I knew nothing about it. We even taught at CCS together. Never saw the guy. Never saw him. And then there was an exhibition at a wonderful gallery in downtown Detroit that's now here. No, it's in, where is it? Ferndale. David Klein Gallery. And they do layaway. Does anybody remember layaway? Exactly. We know who we are. And it's great. And that's how I was able to. So we go to see an exhibition of his work at your gallery downtown. Much better wine here, by the way, than at the gallery. I'm just saying. And we went around, Mark and I, and looked at the paintings. You know, they're big, and I never knew there were these dynamic artists who could paint the figure like that anymore. And we went to some of the houses that you all sponsor in the summertime to see people's collection, and I saw his art there, and I went, oh my God, this is fabulous. I know, I get 2 minutes, so I'm going very fast. So we go through, we look at the paintings, and then he starts his show. I don't know if you've ever heard him speak. 49 years an art historian, I pale. He walked through and described what the paintings were about, what they meant, where the ideas came from. And these ideas he manifested in paint on big canvases. And he goes around, and he goes around, and he stops at a painting that we eventually bought on time. And I got to hang that painting for about 3 months, and I got a little call. And this little voice says, oh, I have a chance to enter this painting in a national competition at the American Portrait Gallery.
National Portrait Gallery in the Smithsonian.
Easy for you. And of course we go down there, and brilliant, and he's there with his whole family and anybody else he can dig up. And then he stands in front of the painting and talks about the painting. And that's what I want to talk about. What this man can do is not only help you realize what his idea was about, but transform that idea into something so poetic and so eternal. That's a big word, but you never forget it. Well, I burst into tears. We got the painting. And this is what this man can do. He knows the difference between how to make you look at something and how to see it. And there's a big difference. And I saw, and I fell in love with you. Congratulations, Mr. Schefman. Nobody else deserves it who can paint as well as you.
Come up here, Mr. Schefman. This is your award, which is an original calligraphic inscription. Wink Coventry was here. Is she still here? We have a special piece of art made for persons with your award. She said she can't compete with you. So she designed a postcard and then just painted colors across the bottom. But it says all the nice things about your work. And this is for you. And Link Wackler has also made a bracelet for you that has miniature images of the arts. Now, if you'd like to say a few words, I yield the microphone.
So, it's such a fun thing to get an award. And I want to thank a lot of people for this. First of all, the Cultural Council of Birmingham Bloomfield for the award. I thank you very much. I am honored and humbled. I would also like to thank the BBAC for hosting as they do. I want to thank my family for a lifetime of support. Both my brothers and sister, Leslie and Carol, Brian and Amy are here tonight. A little thing, my older brother Leslie taught me how to draw. My younger brother Brian taught me how to speak to people. It's absolutely true. I want to thank my daughter Samantha, Ryan, and Bobby for their support. My son Nicholas and Allie are in Brooklyn, so they couldn't be here tonight. And finally, I want to thank my wonderful wife, Christine, who's supported this whole silly program for 43 years now. Thank you. Let me also thank Mark and Michael. Thank you, Michael. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. I want to thank David Klein for his continuing support and all the friends who came out to support me tonight. Thank you very much for coming out. It was very nice. So, like I said, it is a fun thing to get an award. And although I think that an award for my dancing would have been more appropriate, I will certainly go with the Lifetime Achievement for Making Artwork Award. That's a good one, too. At the same time, a Lifetime Achievement Award is also kind of a serious thing, or it sounds serious to me. So I thought about it and kind of wanted to speak just a little bit about how you measure a lifetime achievement. So I looked at two areas in my life, my professional life, that would speak to that. And the first one is a responsibility to pass along the art process, conceptualization, and creation to the next generation. Just as the last generation passed those things to me, I was taught that it was my responsibility to pass it forward to the next group. The other thing is a commitment to continue making artwork, obviously. First, let me talk to the continuity in the art world. In old world sculpture, clay was your basic material, but it's also a symbol of the continuity in our community. Clay is best when it's buried for some time in the ground or in bins. Mold and other good slimy stuff gets into the clay, makes it more and more plastic so that you can stretch it and use it, and much more sensitive to the touch for sculpture. When you started school, your first job was to dig up the clay pit. That clay pit was material that was buried courtesy of the last group years before, who you might even never know, but who took the responsibility to give you your materials to work with. You then, in turn, mixed up enough new clay to fill the pit for the artists coming along years in the future who you might never know. This is the responsibility that I was taught that makes up part of a career for art. To help prepare the next group, as those older artists prepared me, it's something I did teaching at CCS for 20 years, here at the BBC, and continue to do mentoring younger artists. The other part of lifetime achievement struck me as my personal practice. One of my favorite profs in college was an older printmaker who first showed in the World Exhibition of 1920. I'm guessing he was probably the age I am now when I knew him. John DiMartelli, taught at MSU, and we used to talk a lot about a life in art and how to measure it. He said the big issue is, can you continue to create until you are 80 or 90 years old? Your career might be shows, commissions, competitions, or it might not. It might be just you and your mom applauding. Your career will probably go up and down like a roller coaster, making you question why you bothered in the first place, because there's 100 reasons to stop making artwork. The goal, he said, was a commitment to keep following the last piece in order to make the next piece, to keep the creative journey going as long as possible. And he said, for this, you can do no better. So let me thank you all for coming out tonight and recognizing my journey. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What I wanted to tell you at the microphone.
Go ahead.
You'll receive an electronic copy of this evening's presentations that you can share with your family in New York. And anybody else you wish to, but they can see it on tape delay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're happy to recognize you.
Thank you.
And here's your award. And now we come to the last award. 4 years ago, the council conceived the idea of a Partners with the Arts Award, because as you may have noticed if you looked at this list, the awards are reserved for individuals. The very first year, the jury found it too difficult to evaluate nominations for both individuals and organizations or institutions. So the institutions were left out of it for a while. In 2021, our board decided that we would like to give a Partners with the Arts Award. And so this is the 5th one, and it's going to the Birmingham Musicale in recognition of their centennial of service. But I also would like to call to your attention, if you looked at this list, that in the very first year, 1996, the Cultural Arts Award was given to the Birmingham Musicale for their community service. So it has come full circle 30 years later. I would like to call up Where'd you go, Bonnie? Bonnie Brooks, who's president of the Birmingham Musicale, to receive the award. And Marcy's just coming with it. So I don't know who keeps that award that you got the first year. Somebody must have it, because you don't really have an office, do you?
No, I'll inquire. I'll find out.
What happened to it? Yeah,
Right.
because it was a metallic sculpture. It had some weight.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Oh, isn't that beautiful?
And before Bonnie addresses you, I'd just like to call to your attention, it occurred to me the other day, I may have said this already, that we have several organizations that we've recognized in this area that have had a centennial, 100 years of arts service in this community, which is remarkable for a community that isn't that big and isn't that old in the big scheme of things.
Right. Can I give that back? Thank you. Thank you, Anita. So, my name is Bonnie Brooks, and I am president for the second time of the Birmingham Musicale. I would like to thank the ladies and gentlemen of the Birmingham Bloomfield Cultural Arts Council. I would like to thank the fellow awardees, Bryan Fink and Robert Schefman, for sharing this evening with me. And I'd like to thank the jurors for choosing the Birmingham Musicale. So as the president, I'm very, very pleased and proud to accept this award for them. As Anita said, it is our 100th year, and in case you're wondering, I was not an original member. But I wish I was, to have seen it grown like this, because we're just so pleased and proud of where we're at. We give free concerts to the community, and there are purple flyers in the center of your table. Our first free concert of our 100th season is coming up next Thursday, and it's going to be at the Lutheran Church of the Redeemer, who also is celebrating their 100th year. So I just think it's so pleased, and I'm so pleased that I get to be a participant in two 100-year celebrations, because I don't really know if I'm going to make my 100th birthday. But anyway, I'll celebrate. And so we give free concerts to the community, and we kind of act as a musical conduit to bring artists and teachers and students and audiences together. We have six meetings and concerts a year, October through May minus January. No one wants to come out in January. And the Bloomfield Community TV tapes each one of our meetings, so you can catch it the week after on their program channel. We have in our organization a string ensemble, a choral ensemble, a musical production ensemble, and an outreach singing ensemble that goes into different areas to entertain people that are in need, either can't get out into the community or don't have transportation, can't manage it or whatever, and they just are the most delightful group of women who get silly and wear costumes and throw things at you. Anyway, as a member, you are welcome to participate in all of these ensembles. We also have a student league, which we call JAM, which stands for Junior Artist Members. And they are like a small mentoring group to musicians who study and who perhaps just need to meet their people in another forum. And we supply that. Our performers otherwise on the meetings are auditioned and programmed on our 6 meetings. We have DSO musicians in our membership. We have Steinway piano artists. We have opera artists. We have all instruments and singers, and we're just so proud of them. Our meetings are really first class for a volunteer organization. So please check out our website at thebirminghammusicale.org to find out the dates and times of our other meetings. And I invite you all to come. I'd like to see you all there next Thursday. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Before we go, Our honorees have been recognized by a couple of different units of government, and we have some certificates of recognition to give you. So if the three of you would come forward. We have been recognized by the United States Senate, the Office of Senator Gary Peters, and also by the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, particularly the commissioners that represent the two of you. Let me have one so that we can just show people.
Okay.
This is a certificate from the Senate. This one says, Certificate of Special Senatorial Recognition presented to the Birmingham Musicale. I am proud to congratulate you on earning the Partners with the Arts Award. Thank you for your commitment to spreading the joy of music to the Birmingham community for 100 years, and I look forward to your continued success. And this is signed by Senator Gary Peters. And then, I will not read you this entire proclamation. This comes from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, and it has a lot of whereases. But basically, it says all the things we've been saying all evening, and it's signed by, really, sometimes they read the whole thing, and it's really hard to listen to. It's signed by David Woodward, the chair, Linnie Taylor, who's the county commissioner for District 18, that's one of you, Marcia Gersonson, the vice chair of the Board of Commissioners, who is the representative for another one of you, I think, and Charlie Cavell, the county commissioner from District 19. So these are for the Birmingham Musicale, and the other two of you have yours. And you can hang them on your walls. 2 or 3 years ago, I went to somebody's house after they got all these things for a theater singing type mask that they made for me. And when I walked in the front door, all these things were right on the wall in the door because they were so proud of them. Thank you all for coming, and congratulations again to all of you.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here, and it's just such an honor. I am the proud recipient of a Cultural Arts Award years ago, but I'd like to acknowledge everybody that's here that has won an award, because we do have a lot of people in the audience. So if you just stand up for a minute, we'd really like to acknowledge you for being a part of our community and supporting everyone tonight. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.